welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast, your season-long source for fantasy hockey news, analysis, and fun. Because on this podcast, we try not to take ourselves too seriously. I'm Devin Davidson. I will be your host this evening. This is episode 188. We are continuing our Top Target series with the Metropolitan division. And joining me tonight is not my co-host, Bruce Gunther, who is almost always here, but instead taking his place for the night is Blake Creamer. Blake, how are you, buddy?
Buddy, I'm good. I could never live up to Bruce. All right. Let's just be real about that. I mean, I love that hat that Bruce wears as well. I mean, I can't pull that off. You know what I mean? The man's a legend. So I'll do my best here. But, the key word here is fun that you mentioned, Devin. And that's what it's all about. Am I right?
Yeah, buddy. That's what we're here for. I didn't give you much of an intro just because I felt you didn't need one. The people already know who Blake Creamer is. It's been like the summer of Blake again. You're doing a fantastic job, you and Nate over there, with your show, obviously, and on Apples and Genos, the whole crew over there. You guys are just killing it. Before we deep dive into all these top targets we want to talk about, I just want to give you a chance to sort of introduce what you guys released this summer in your fantasy guide and let everyone know where they can find you if they don't already know.
You're just such a gentleman, Devin, and I really appreciate that about you, my man. The summer of Blake. It was supposed to be the summer of Blake. Oh, God, and it was. Unfortunately, I had a bunch of time off, and I just spent it in my basement staring at my computer screen. What the hell?
The things you do for the listeners, right?
I'm looking at your screen right now. You're beautifully tanned. My face is pale. This is terrible.
Which is hilarious because
in my body.
You live on the West Coast. I'm out here on the prairies, buddy. I don't know what's going on, but I got a lot of sun this summer. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm jealous. Okay. So I'm transparent, basically. That's fine. Anyways. Thanks very much for the intro. I appreciate that. Yeah. Over at Apples and Genos is cooking all summer here. It was really fun. I can't stop. But one of the things we did do is create a fantasy hockey draft guide, Apples and Genos official. So yeah, I appreciate you letting me talk about that. It is available as a standalone purchase on the Apples and Genos Patreon. So definitely check that out over at Patreon. But it's, just in short, it's a really great document. We've got a bunch of standalone articles in there, sleepers, busts, ADP values. There's a betting article that we had. And Nate did his annual 0G article as well. So really good stuff in there. Plus we did 32 team reviews, just getting to biz, identifying all the sleepers on the teams, projected lineups, all that stuff. So yeah, we had a good time. I spent way too long on that. And, now I really should get some sun. I don't know. I live by the ocean, for God's sake. I literally look at it out my window and I'm just dinking around. I don't know. But anyways, check out that Apples and Genos fantasy draft guide. And if for some reason you can't make the price, hit me up on Twitter at Blake Creamer AG. I'll send you one. I want this document out there. I think it's really good and we're really proud of it. So yeah, thanks for letting me mention that. And we got Bruce in the house. Oh my God.
Yes, we do.
I made it. Barely, but I made it.
Good to have you, buddy. We weren't sure. I assumed you weren't going to be here. You kind of said you had some stuff you had to take care of, and that's totally fine, but we're glad to have you. So Blake was just running through his intro of the Apples and Genos fantasy guide. Bruce, I don't know if you had a chance to read through it yet. I know you got lots going on, but I will just say really quickly here on behalf of myself, I thought you guys did an unbelievable job. It was really well formatted. The content in there is great. I had a good chuckle because a lot of the players we're going to talk about tonight, I already had on my list to talk about. And then as I'm going through there, Blake, we were on the same page, I think, on a lot of topics. But if you haven't picked it up already, please do. It's worth the price of admission, no question.
What a nice guy. And don't worry, Bruce, I gave Devin the fake copy. All right. I changed all of it. I gave you the real copy, Bruce. Don't worry.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
That
Checks in the mail.
at all.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right. So with that, guys, let's dive into it here. So we got our top target series. We're going to continue on with that with the Metropolitan division. And for the purpose of this episode, we're going to define a top target as a player that will be undervalued by current ADP standards, or we believe is in for a big reason based on underlying numbers. Maybe it's a bounce back, deployment, coaching change, whatever the case may be. Basically, these are players that we think are going to return some value for you. Our focus is going to be largely on players, though, that can be found in mid or late rounds of a 12-team redraft league. So we're trying to avoid some of those obvious names. Everyone knows you want to draft Sebastian Aho in Carolina or Seth Jarvis, but we're going to try and dive a little bit deeper. So without any further ado whatsoever, let's get into it, starting with our forwards. And we're going to start with the Carolina Hurricanes and a guy named Martin Necas, rostered 96% in Fantrax, 73% in Yahoo. And for what it's worth, he's going right now at an ADP of 118.9 in Yahoo, somewhere in the 10th round. Looks like he's going to play with Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Bradley Nadeau and on power play 1. So, Blake, it looks like after signing a 2-year contract, he does believe that he's going to have some better deployment in Carolina, right? With guys like Teuvo Teravainen, Jake Gensel, and Evgeny Kuznetsov leaving for one reason or another. I think he's going to get top 6 minutes here, power play 1, probably the best deployment he's seen to date in his career.
Yeah, I mean, RBA, Rod Brindamore, this guy really toots in our faces, doesn't he? For fantasy, I mean, come on, buddy. Nate's just like, get me the hell out of town. Okay, I guess I'll sign a 2-year contract. And really, basically the reason you said, like, there's some space open up. So he's going to be a staple in that top 6. And where he really fell off last year was the power play. And that's where the value comes with Martin Necas. Like, this guy's a great power play performer. In 2022-23, this guy had 26 power play points. Pretty damn nice. 71 points in 82 games. So that's awesome. And then, his deployment took a sharp turn downwards. So he lost they shaved a minute off his deployment, and, he was in RBA's doghouse. They're not getting prioritized. Well, they did other things there. So that said, this guy, he's good to go, like, on his own. I'm a really big fan of Martin Necas, and this is a player that I'm targeting big time because of that ADP. Like 118 on Yahoo? No, this makes no sense. I'll take him there. Like, I'm actually in the Cupful League, the Keeping Karlsson Ultimate Patriot Fantasy Hockey League. Jeez,
that's
too many
mouthful.
letters. Anyways, yeah. But I was just hoping and praying this guy got back to me. I ended up picking him at like 111, and it felt like I was winning my draft, because I really think this is a guy that I projected like a nice projection. I've got him for like 68 points or something like that, but I think he could be a point per game player if everything breaks right, because he's going to be the play driver on that line. And that's something that I've really dug into this offseason here, is looking for guys that are the primary play driver on their line. And Martin Necas is exactly that. He's the guy carrying the puck into the zone. He's the guy driving the offense on that line. So I'm excited about the potential here. I think, he also had like career highs in a lot of his metrics last year as well. In a lesser role, like shots on goal per 60, career high, individual scoring chances for, right up around his career high, like chucking pucks, career high. So I'm a big fan here. He just does everything really well. But one thing I wanted to ask you guys about, this is a little side question here, but Jesperi Kotkaniemi, his projected center, like I saw they had them together on a line today, first day of training camp. It was a great day, by the way. I love seeing those lines. I don't know about you guys, but Kotkaniemi is a guy that Nate hates, and a guy that I'm low key like into as like a flyer pick, and I just wonder what your thoughts are first on Necas and Kotkaniemi as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, Bruce, Necas, just the shot volume, right? The shot rate. So that's the first thing I'm going to take a look at, is the shot rate at 10.4 shots on goal per 60. That ranked him 32nd league wide with guys like Kyle Connor and Kirill Kaprizov. I like that a lot. One thing about his time on ice, as you said too, it dropped by a minute, but that was primarily all on the power play, was that time that he lost on ice. And his power play production dipped from 26 power play points the year previously to 13 this past year. And it was all primary assists that he lost on. I think it was literally, he just lost those points because he wasn't getting any ice time. And so I think what he did in the past, that 26 power play points, that's absolutely repeatable for him. I think he's going to have a big year on the power play. The shot rate, hard to pass up. So there's lots to like there. And Kotkaniemi, no, I'm not a fan, to be honest. I would be on board with Nate there. I just don't see the fantasy value. The shot rate is no good, as you would say, Blake. And his career high is 43 points and 18 goals. So for me, fantasy wise, not a ton there to like. 12.59 time on ice last year.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing with Kotkaniemi for me, is because, he got just demoed down the lineup there, playing fourth line minutes. Now he's going to get top 6 minutes, potentially power play 2. I'm wondering, and I'm not projecting a major thing for Kotkaniemi here, but I've got him for 45 points. So kind of getting back to that level there, decent hits, like he's a beefer. He does that. Maybe some points on the power play. I don't know. I think it's an interesting player, certainly as a streamer for Carolina, if he's centering Necas all year.
Necas will drag him into the fight. He'll get a few points. bounce a couple off his butt, maybe. I don't know.
Oh God! Oh, everybody hates this guy. He's the offer sheet wonder. Oh my God! What was Carolina doing at that point? Were they were just trying to piss Montreal off? Is that
Absolutely.
the
That
situation?
was a revenge offer sheet. That's
Yeah.
all that was.
Love that.
That'll be the Oilers next year with Jake Neighbors. Oh, like
I
they
think
can't do
so.
it. They can't do it. But I mean, it's that would be the
And right
the
now,
equivalent.
Montreal is saying thank you very much for doing that.
I think so.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so just really quickly then, our projection for him was in line with yours, Blake. So we had 29 goals, 67 points, 25 power play points, 254 shots on goal, 39 penalty minutes, 65 hits, and 24 blocks.
Yep, like that. I've actually got it for 69. All right,
Nice.
So yeah, exactly. Very nice number. I mean, I say this all the time, but when you can project for 69 points, you do it.
You do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
All right, so let's with that, go grab Necas this draft. He's gonna pay off in spades, I think. Next guy up here, and Bruce, I'll let you maybe talk about this guy, Adam Fantilli out of Columbus, 92% rostered in Fantrax, 15% in Yahoo. Right now, he's going in the 16th round on average, 184. Looks like he's going to play with Kent Johnson and Yegor Chinikov, and on power play 1. I think he's going to have a really good season. I like Fantilli. I had a conversation with Bangers Fantasy Hockey today on Twitter or X. We're going back and forth. I just was trying to imply that I was happy about what I saw with Boone Jenner. He's going to the wing. Blake, I know you love Boone Jenner. So yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see what Fantilli does on the second line there and with power play 1 time. Bruce, what do you think?
It looked like before he got injured last year, it looks like he was making strides in the right direction. I actually did some fancy stats work on his shot rate because it looked good to me, right? So when I look at the numbers, you look at his amount of shots, you divide it by the amount of games, it looked good, right? So it wasn't when you compare it to some of the others, it wasn't too bad. So he's in line with guys like Mikko Rantanen and Clayton Keller, which isn't too bad. It was
nothing wrong with that.
Not 9 shots per 60, so it's decent. Hoping that Ken Johnson has a bounce back year after last year was kind of a disaster for him. And Chiakov did well last year, so yeah, I think second line he's going to get a little more. I think he's going to get a few more minutes this year, hopefully. Power play 1 time be a nice bump for him, I think.
Yeah, definitely more minutes. I think I can't remember exactly how many minutes, but 17 and a half or 18, I think was kind of where I saw him. Blake, what about you?
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely going to get a bump in minutes there. I projected him for, just over 17 minutes. This is a guy we're pretty damn excited about here over at Apples and Ginos. Like, I've got a pretty stout projection on this man, 61 points.
Nice.
I feel really good about that. I mean, anywhere in the top 6. Obviously, I'd like to see him prioritized over Sean Monahan, but they went out and picked this guy up, obviously, to play with, Johnny Gaudreau, who tragically lost his life. So, I think Monahan is going to get that 1C, but Fantilli's absolutely going to get some power play time. And one thing I love about Fantilli is he did not show out like for scoreboard watchers last year, right? You look at his stats, 27 points in 49 games. Like, okay, whatever. Is this guy a bust? I don't know. Like, hell no. He had one of the worst coaches in the entire National Hockey League last year, Pascal Vincent, right? Like, just pissing off every single player, alienating everyone on the team and his fan base. So they sent him to Montreal, all right? Because, I don't know what's going on there. But, I think Fantilli's going to get a bunch more run here. And this is a guy, like you said, Bruce, it does show out in some of those metrics we like. Shots on goal per 60 at 5-on-5 in a pretty good sample size, 49 games, was 8.21. And I like to see around 10. And this guy's approaching 10. Like, that's great. Individual scoring chances, 4/60, 8.31. I like to see 10. So he's right there. I mean, the Columbus Blue Jackets were a tire fire last year. It was just garbage. Vincent was throwing the lines in a blender. Fantilli didn't have a consistent line mate. So that's one thing. Like, I think Dean Evison as the coach in Columbus is going to be a net positive for this team. Plus the passing of Johnny Gaudreau at least galvanizes the team a little bit more. Like, they really have something to play for. And I think they're all going to be just going, all out all season just to do the best they possibly can. And I'm a big fan of this player. One thing too about Fantilli, again, 49 games played at 5-on-5, his IPP was almost 81%. So he's like, I mean, that's not sustainable, but that's a big enough sample size for me to be like, hey, this guy is the play driver. He's not the passenger. This is the guy that's going to be making offense happen on his line. And I think, Kent Johnson's a really talented player as well offensively. And I saw some lines today with Dmitry Voronkov was there, like just for the first thing, like he's a straight sniper as well. So that could be a nice fit, or Igor Chinikov, whatever. Like they've got a lot of options there in Columbus. And I think it's kind of a sneaky play. This is a great sleeper for me, Adam Fantilli.
And I think, Blake, in most drafts, he would have been an unquestioned number one pick, right? If not for Connor Bedard. I mean, this is a guy that's going first in most drafts, most years. So we like him a lot. We like the price point at 184 in the 16th round. I mean, whether or not that's accurate doesn't really matter. But as a reference point, even if you're taking him 2 rounds earlier, I think he's going to return some value. Our projection for him, 25 goals, 56 points, 15 power play points, 227 shots on goal, 30 PIMs, 89 hits, and 47 blocks. So we're not maybe quite as sweet on him as you are, Blake, but I still really like the player. And back to your point about Sean Monahan, I mean, I was actually kind of low-key interested in Sean Monahan, coming back and playing with Gaudreau, and that's obviously a tragedy, and our thoughts are with their families and with the Columbus Blue Jackets and all their fans, but I still think that Sean Monahan can have a good season, and they've paid this man, right? So they're going to do everything they can to make it work for him. He's going to play some big minutes, and regardless of what he's done in the past, I think could be some good things. I like him with Boone Jenner. I mean, that's another guy that I think he's in our honorable mentions, Blake, because we like Jenner on this show too.
Oh, hell yeah. Big Boone, Papa Boone. I think it's going to be interesting to see him on the wing there. But again, like Jenner's the sniper. To me, Monahan is the kind of that defensive presence. He's going to be the one helping lead the breakouts, right? And then depends who they get on the right side there. But it's a decent line. Monahan, I love that he played a full season last year. Like that really does give me some confidence that this player is good to go. Like he's not an old man. He's only 29. So or turning 30 this year. So, I mean, I could see, a 60-point season for Monahan as well. I don't know that I projected him there. What did I project Monahan for? 54 points. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's probably a conservative projection though. Like if he does get full 1C power play 1, Monahan's going to be he's going to be a fantasy asset for you, a late round one, but definitely valuable.
For sure. All right, let's move on to the next guy here. And this is one that I think we all agree on is going to be a big fantasy asset this season. And maybe still a bit of a bargain at his price point. But Timo Meier, left wing, right wing eligible for the New Jersey Devils, 95% rostered in Fantrax, 81% in Yahoo. Right now he's going on average 67.3 somewhere in the 6th round. And line rushes today in camp. He was lined up with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt and on the first power play unit. So that is some plum deployment, Blake. I don't think it really gets any better than that, to be honest.
No. That is a really nice place to be. I don't think that's how it's going to go. Like obviously we got Mercer holding out for contract here. So I think, Mercer will probably play up there with Jack Hughes. And I don't know if Meier's going to play with Hughes or Hischier. I think that he played most of the season last year with Nico Hischier, but who the hell cares? I think the really big thing with Meier last year is that he was injured. He was playing injured. He wasn't fully healthy, right? He came back too early to try and help his team get the playoffs. Didn't happen. When he was with San Jose, he was required to do everything. He was out there in all situations. He was playing 20 minutes a night. And he was the one driving the play. Whereas, you don't do that here on New Jersey. All right. We got guys that do that. Jack Hughes, he's the best rusher in the league by far. He's by far the best rusher in the league, and a really close, like second or third, Jesper Bratt. Like these guys are incredible. They're one of the best rushing. They are the best rushing team in the league, and they have the 2 best players there. So I'm a big fan of that. I just think he was trying to find his place there. He was a little bit injured, and he had a 46% power play share. That show ain't no good. He's still got 17 power play points, but I think he's going to smash that. This guy's career high is 23 power play points. He's going to beat that number to me this year with this New Jersey power play. And at 67, oh my God, like what? This is a guy we were taking in the 2nd round just 2 years ago, and now we're getting him at 67 in Yahoo. What? I mean, this is, I love it. Like if you're in a bangers league, he shoots, he hits, he blocks, he Juliannes, he does it all. This guy's a nut. So anyways, I love Timo Meier. I think this guy's well worth like a third, fourth round, that's probably where his value is going to be. But if you can pick him up at pick 67, you're loving life. Just
Absolutely.
e-transfer me the money for the championship right now.
Yeah, I think if you get him anywhere outside of the third round, you're doing really well. The good news here, like he's had a bit of a drop off, like you had said. He dealt with some injuries and all that kind of stuff. But I was really encouraged to see over the final 21 games of this past season, he had 24 points and 15 goals. So for anyone that doesn't do math instantly, that's 94 points and a 59 goal pace over 82 games. So not sustainable there, but
bang.
That's some high level production from a guy that we have high expectations for. His time on ice went back up to 19 and a half minutes. Power play time on ice was 13 and a quarter. Hits were back up over 2. He was top 20 in total shots on goal. So there's a lot of things to like about what he's doing individually and then the deployment itself. I think this is a player you definitely have to target, and he's still being had at value just because he did have a rough year last season. All right. Our projection there, 35 goals, 81 points, 27 power play points, 303 shots on goal, 54 penalty minutes, 157 hits, and 24 blocks.
Oh, my. It's Timo time. Bruce, are you with me? Come on.
Oh yeah. We had that discussion on X this afternoon about Timo time. It was good.
Timo time.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Sheldon Keefe there in New Jersey? What do you think the effect of that is going to be with the Devils? Because obviously, just preface this, and this is something I've thought about, is, Sheldon Keefe, when he was with the Leafs, they were an in-zone team. They were basically like dump it in, forecheck, in-zone play, set it up, the Sedin style, right? Yeah. But New Jersey, no, they were a rush team, the best rushing team in the NHL under Lindy Ruff. And now you got Sheldon Keefe going there, who's like had this really great in-zone offense in Toronto. What do you think it's going to look like with New Jersey there? And do you think he's going to give these top guys big minutes?
I would think so. I mean, my first thought goes back to Austin Matthews, right? So Austin Matthews had 69 goals under Sheldon Keefe. I think, why can't Jack Hughes have a big season like that? Or why can't Timo Meier have a big season like that? Like, obviously they want to play defensively responsible hockey, and they're going to, but I don't think it's going to come at the expense of the offense. Like, I think he recognizes he has probably 2 of the best rush offense players in the league, as you'd said, and he's going to utilize those guys. So I think it's Timo time. I'm all for it. I'm not concerned about Sheldon Keefe in any way, shape, or form, but I guess there could be some concern on the surface just about defensive play, right?
Sheldon Keefe wasn't the reason why the Leafs didn't get anywhere. That was more the players than his systems, and I think that'll show here. Jersey will make the playoffs this year. Markstrom back there, and you got. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Bruce. Yeah, I just cut you off there. I think Markstrom's going to be great there, but being one of the best rushing teams in the league, it opens you up to chances on the way back, right? And that's what happened in New Jersey. They had no problem with offense last year. It was just keeping the puck out of the net, and they had some of the worst goaltending in the league. So that is what I'm excited about Keefe to come in here and shore that up, because obviously the defensive environment in Toronto was elite. It was really good. Obviously, they didn't get over the hump in the playoffs with him there as the coach, but I think it's really good. And with Markstrom there, I think Jersey, maybe we're just 1 year off on Jersey being an absolute wagon for fantasy.
Yeah. I don't think we're that far away, Bruce. Like, I would agree, Blake. I mean, if things go the right way, it could happen this year. The only thing they're really fighting right now is Luke Hughes is going to be on the shelf for a few weeks. But I like a lot of the things that are going on in New Jersey, and we'll dive into the goaltenders a little bit more later. So I won't get into Markstrom right now, but I agree. I'm interested in Markstrom for this season too. Yeah. Happy
to see Dougie Hamilton will be back at the beginning of the season. That's a big help back there. That helps absorb Luke Hughes' absence a bit, but when Hughes is back, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. All right. Next forward here out of the Metro is Anthony Duclair for the New York Islanders. Left wing eligible, 61% rostered in Fantrax, 15% in Yahoo. He's currently being undrafted in Yahoo, which I don't think is a big surprise to anyone. Sorry, guys. Once a show, I lose my video. I'm not sure why, but there it was. Anyway, he's penciled to play, and they showed this in training camp today with Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal, and on power play too. So I think that the challenge with Duclair, he's going to be fighting to get ice time. He got just over a minute time on ice on the power play in Tampa at the end of last year. Probably going to be a similar case for the Islanders. I just don't think he's going to get a ton of time with the man advantage, but he did produce 24 goals last season between San Jose and Tampa Bay. That in itself is a feat. This man deserves a round of applause for putting up the number of goals he did in San Jose. He's shown he can play with skilled players. He's done it throughout his career. Post deadline in Tampa, he had 15 points, 8 goals in 17 games to finish the regular season. That's a 72-point pace over 82 games. And that's despite his ice time dropping to 14.27 per game. So if he's going to get 16 minutes a night playing on the top line, or 16 and a half, whatever it's going to be with Barzal and Horvat, I've got some interest in that player, especially a guy that you can either just pick up off the waiver wire or stream when you feel like it. So Blake, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a player of interest for sure. He should definitely be drafted. You know, this is a guy you can spend your last pick on, or your second to last pick. He's going to get top line deployment. And I know that you said power play 2, and I think that's where he'll start, but he'll have a cup of coffee there on power play 1. Right now, they're going to roll Kyle Palmieri out there again. Oh God. Like, I mean, Kyle Palmieri had he had stretches last year where you're like, I guess we have to roster Kyle Palmieri. I mean, he's doing stuff, right? But I don't know. I was happy to see that Duclair got a little bit of term, because this is a guy that's bounced around all over the league. Yeah. And I don't quite understand it. I think, he got deprioritized in Florida, then San Jose, Tampa Bay last year. 24 goals in 73 games. Pretty nice. This guy's a sniper. He's a very efficient player. 18.6 shooting percentage last year. Efficient. That's pretty damn efficient, my man. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen again, but I agree with some of the stuff you're saying. I think he's going to get a little more ice time, and I think he might get over the 2-minute power play time on ice threshold there this year. But it's weird to me. There's got to be something missing with this player, because he can't find ice time on any team. But he's a great player. He's a very dynamic player. If you watch him out on the ice, it's just, I think there's some defensive deficiencies there. Plus, he's not a good forechecker, right? Which, I don't know. He hasn't been able to gain the coach's confidence. So we'll see what happens here with Patrick Waugh. I do like that he got a couple years on his contract there to show what he can do. Because, he's been getting these 1-year contracts and moving on. But at the very least, you're looking at a first-line player that scored 24 goals last year playing with San Jose. Mostly, you know what I'm saying? So that's something we gotta take notice of here. And I think he's good for 20 goals again.
So where do you see his shooting percentage shaking out? Because like you said, he's an efficient shooter, but at 18.6% in 2 of the past 3 seasons, like, is that something that we can expect to see on the island this year?
No, I don't. Not for me personally. I mean, I don't think you can bank on that. He's done it before, right? He's had 2 seasons, 3 seasons actually. He had a 19% shooting as well, but that's ceiling Duclair. We're now looking at a new face in a new place. I'm going to bet on the under on everything with Duclair, at least while he gets his feet wet here with the Islanders. I mean, unless he catches lightning in a bottle, but that's not something I want to bank on for fantasy. I've got him for 14.4% shooting, and I've actually projected him for 52 points. Pretty nice projection there for Anthony Duclair. I might have to go in and fix that. Actually, no, it's good. He got 10 power play points out of that, so I feel like that's probably ceiling Duclair. One of the things with my projections, I got to go in and fix everything once we see all these lines and everything else. So that's something with my projections I need to do and go in and fix it a little bit. So take it with a grain of salt. But at 52 points, I think that's probably ceiling Duclair this year. But that's a player that should be on somebody's roster somewhere.
Yeah, I think especially in deep leagues. Hey, Bruce?
Oh, definitely. I was really hoping he would stick in Tampa.
He looked good, didn't he, Bruce?
Really seemed to click nicely there. Either it was the top line or the second line. He seemed to click in really nice. So I was disappointed because I think the island is going to be a challenge for him. So, but if he can put up points in San Jose, he should be able to put up points on the island. So that is one good.
He's gonna he'll have better line mates. That's for damn sure. I love Barzal. Exactly. Barzal is he's a guy I'm way into this year. He's an inefficient player, but everything under the hood that I look at, Barzal is one of the best in the league at that. Driving play, zone entries with chances. Barzal's the man, and Duclair has access to him. So I don't know. It's pretty damn good. And then you got Dingus McGee, Bo Horvat over there, but we don't need to talk about that.
Are you still bitter, Blake?
I'll always be bitter. All right. You don't talk yang on the Canucks fans, Bo Horvat. All right. What are you doing? We gave you everything, you son of a gun. You
know what? I think, Bruce, to your point about Tampa and wanting to keep him there, I think they would have loved to have had him. It was just the price point. So what did he sign for? Was it 3 million, 3.5? I think it was 3.5 for 4 years or something. But I mean, so they had to sign Cam Atkinson at $900K, and that's a lot more palatable for a team that has no cap space. So,
and they went out and got Gensel too. So that's
yeah. All right. Our projection for Anthony Duclair. We're pretty sweet on this guy, Blake. I'm not sure why. 30 goals, 58 points, 10 power play points, 205 shots on goal, 35 PIMs, 53 hits, and 30 blocks.
I'm here for it, buddy.
And part of my reason, that's maybe a bit of a hot take here, but part of my reasoning, he scored 24 goals between San Jose and Tampa. I mean, that's unbelievable. So if he's even anywhere close, he won't be at 18.6%, but I think I had him maybe around 14.5. That might have been where I had him too. And he's shown that he can shoot the puck at times too. Like he was between 8.7 and 10.3 shots on goal per 60 the past 3 or 4 years. So I like the player, especially at the price point.
Yeah, Bo Horvat and Barzal, that's the best line he's played on in years. I think that's going to do wonders for him.
All right, let's move on to this guy. And Blake, I know you are a particularly big fan of this guy, Owen Tippett in Philly, left wing, right wing eligible, 95% roster in Fantrax, 88% in Yahoo. Right now he's going 82.4 on average in the 7th round. Looks like he's going to play with Morgan Frost and Travis Konecny and on Power Play 1. Give me your thoughts really quick, Blake. Owen Tippett.
I mean, just the Tippett, just for a second, just because you asked, okay? But yeah, I mean, this redheaded beauty, he's the ultimate chucker. This guy is a legendary chucker in the league. But yeah, I mean, everything. I mean everything under the hood with Owen Tippett is elite. You know what isn't elite? John Tortorella's deployment of this man. Oh my God, 16 and a half minutes last year. Torts, what are you doing? What are you doing with yourself? I mean, you know, I one thing with Tortorella, the guy, I can't even talk yang on him. He coached that team very well. He had them punching way above their weight class last year. They almost made the playoffs, and they had no business doing that. And that's because of Tortorella being a good coach. But I mean, in terms of fantasy, like, no, like this is a guy, even Tortorella last year was like, you know, I should probably put Owen Tippett on the ice a little more. It's like, yeah, Torts, you should, because he's your best player besides Travis Konecny. What the hell are you doing? 16 and a half minutes. My God. Yeah. But I'm a big fan of the player. Obviously, you know, the metrics we like. He's this guy overall last year, 6th overall in shots on goal per 60, 5th overall in chuck and pucks per 60, 33rd overall in individual scoring chances for per 60 with Philly. He did that. So yeah, he's cooking. I mean, just give me some more deployment with Owen Tippett, and I'm loving this player. He's also a beefer extraordinaire, 148 hits. Yes, please. You know, what do you guys think about Philly's power play with Michkov now in town? Do you think that they get out of the basement there? Because this guy got 8 power play points last year. 8. Owen, please just put the biscuit in the basket, my man.
Bruce, I'll let you answer that one first. Philly's power play. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's going to be better. It can't be any worse, can it?
No, unless they add an expansion team. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they will.
Even then, they pay enough in those expansion fees that they'll probably just buy themselves a nice power play. Anyway,
yeah. Like you got Michkov on the wing, Konecny on the other side. Like, yeah, I think these guys are going to do some damage to where yet to be seen who's going to be the defenseman on that. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but
we will. Yep.
And like Blake alludes to, the Tippett can shoot the puck. Like, good God, I looked at the shot rate. It's like, holy crap, man. Okay, he throws a lot of pucks at the net, and like you said, Tortorella should have played him more because, yeah, not a bad little piece of asset from Florida, right? For kind of helps you forget Claude Giroux a little bit. Watching Tippett do this,
sweet Tippy, buddy. Oh,
sure does, yeah. So, where do you guys see him going? Like 82.4 in Yahoo. Obviously, we know those numbers don't mean a ton, but it's just, you know, is he going in the 5th round, the 4th round, bangers leagues? Like, how early is he going?
I don't like it, to be honest. I mean, I've got him projected for 63 points, 17 minutes average time on ice. So not that much of a bump for Torts, right? It's just, you can't predict what this guy's going to do for fantasy. And it really is Tortorella that's holding me back from Owen Tippett. But yeah, even at 82, like it still seems a little rich for me. This guy is a crazy fantasy asset, as we've just described, but I don't know what they're going to do over there. Last year, Philly, like I said, they played really well, but they didn't have anyone that could convert. Right. Mm-hmm. And like Owen Tippett's in that boat too. Like he's a chucker. He's not an efficient player. So, you know, Matvei Michkov going there, that's a player that has like, he's instantly probably the best offensive player on that team. Like that's weird to say, but yeah, this rookie on the team, I think has the best offensive acumen of any player there, right? The rest of these guys are just grinders. They're just putting their hard hats on and going to work. So I don't know. I like Owen Tippett if he gets access to Michkov. Maybe Tippett plays on the left side there. I don't know. But yeah, 82. I think there's some assets there that I'd rather go with that I don't have to bank on them hitting, for value to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like 80 is Owen Tippett hitting is kind of closer to his ceiling. Whereas at 80, I think there's still players that, I'd like to take a chance on that have a kind of Tippett's ceiling as their floor, if that makes sense.
Totally fair. Yeah. Bruce, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think 84 is a little high, for at least where I would take him anyway.
Well, it's funny you mentioned 63 points, Blake, because that was the pace he played at in the second half of the season, 26 points and 12 goals in 34 games. It seemed like Tippett sort of pulled his, or Tortorella sort of removed head from sphincter for the second half of the season and realized, I should put this guy on the ice a little more. But, and then our projection isn't far off from that. So 29 goals, 66 points, 15 power play points, 300 shots on goal, 17 penalty minutes, 155 hits and 55 blocks.
Amazing stuff. Great. And I mean, his value in bangers is much higher than 80. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's where that's bumping up. Because I think like in a points league, his ADP over 100 in my opinion. Right. And then you could draft him at like 90 or 100 and be like, wow, I got Owen Tippett at 100.
Sure.
But like people are drafting him probably a lot earlier in bangers leagues because of all those things you just mentioned.
Yeah. 100%. All right. And then just quickly, we've got a few honorable mentions here to finish off the forward group. So Boone Jenner, who we already kind of touched on, Matvei Michkov, who we just talked about. I think that's one of those players you don't generally want to reach for rookies because you just don't know what's the deployment going to be and how is he going to adjust to the game in North America and all this. But the guy is a talent. It's, you know what I mean? Like if you look at how it converts from the KHL to the NHL and all those kinds of things, I think it's a player a lot of people are going to reach for this fall. Rutger McGroarty. So we talked about that. Actually, the guys on Puck Dynasty, Bruce, we're talking about that. Ryan and Evan were talking about Rutger McGroarty, and Ryan compared him to Chris Kunitz on steroids, basically. He just said that he could have a big year. And his upside, he said, in his opinion, would be 60 points if he stayed in the top 6 all season long. Probably not likely. We'll see how that shakes out. But I mean, lots to like about Rutger McGroarty. Brian Rust, that's a player, Bruce, I've drafted this guy in a lot of leagues for the past 2 or 3 seasons. I really like Brian Rust. That's a guy you should absolutely be keying in on. And then Brock Nelson was the other one. And I almost went with him over Anthony Duclair. But I didn't just because Duclair was going undrafted. A little more value there. But Brock Nelson's a guy that's averaged like 34, 35 goals and 70 points in each of the past 3 years. That's a guy that I think a lot of people are still sleeping on for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is? It's his face. All right. If you look at his face, you're like, no, I don't want to be staring at that all year.
He looks sad.
Right?
He looks sad, right? It's like,
yeah, he's like the epitome of a sad trombone, like in person form. You know what I mean? That's Brock Nelson's face right there. Cheer up, my man. I mean, I don't know. That's
you open up your fantasy app and you just hear wah, wah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh damn, another 70-point season by Brock Nelson, buddy. Come on, that's pretty darn good. He's
not so bad.
He plays on the island. That's probably why.
I think that is part of it for sure.
It's hard with Patrick Waugh there because like he obviously a full off season with Patrick Waugh. Now that team is going to be a little bit different. They were already different, some of the things that Waugh implemented with the team. So yeah, we'll see. But I like Brock Nelson too. I'd love to hate him because of his face, but I think like there's absolutely some value there with him.
All right, Bruce. Anything else to add there to those few honorable mentions?
No, I'm good.
All righty. Let's move on to defenseman here, and we kind of already talked about him. Bruce, you had alluded to him. Excuse me. Dougie Hamilton for the New Jersey Devils, 96% roster in Fantrax, 58% in Yahoo. Right now going at 67.6 or the 6th round. He's going to play in that top pairing with Jonas Siegenthaler, and because of the Luke Hughes injury, there's absolutely no doubt he's going to start on power play 1. And to me, guys, the big thing is he's now got a month or a month and a half to establish himself on the top power play unit. If it goes well, if he's putting up power play points, if the Devils are winning, there's going to be absolutely no reason to make a change, especially with what you're paying this player. There's some other things. I looked at these numbers. So in 20 games last year, wholly unsustainable, right? I think he just had some outrageous numbers. It was like 44% on the power play. His career average is 9.4% on the power play. His IPP was 88%. His secondary assist rate was 0.69. That was 50% above his career average. Even his individual shot rate at 8.2% was above his career and 3-year averages. So I'm not putting too much stock in those first 20 games before he went down with injury, because a lot of it was just super inflated. But he's a great fantasy asset. He shoots the puck a lot. You can always count on roughly 1 hit and 1 block per game from this player. And anytime you've got exposure to Jack Hughes, I think you try and take that, especially at the D position. So, Bruce, what's your take on Dougie Hamilton, and maybe how early are you going to take this guy? Give me your list.
Oh, you know how early I take defensemen, so he'll probably be long gone before I'm looking at defensemen.
Yeah, you're going 0D again, Bruce.
I think I might do that again. It kind of worked well for me last year, so
it worked just fine. All offense all the time from Bruce.
Exactly. First 9 rounds, first 10 rounds, all forwards.
Dang, some true 0D there. You know what? I don't mind that. Yeah, it's weird this year with defensemen, isn't it, Bruce? Like, I feel like the tiers are a little bit. There's a bigger gap. You know what I mean? It's like you want to get one of the top 5 guys, and if you don't, it's like I'm waiting. I'm really waiting, because I think they're kind of all mashing together, aren't they?
Exactly, and you're going to see some. And Hamilton, I think, is one of those guys that's he's gonna trend near the top. He always has been, right? So he's going to be trending near the. He's going to be trending near the top, and he'll go early. So what did they say? 6th round? Yeah, most likely, especially with Hughes being out of the picture here. He'll go early, and God, look at the talent he's playing with on that first power play unit, though. Like,
that's hard to pass on.
Yeah, like Hughes, Bratt, Meyer, Heischer, like, yikes. Like, they're going to be good.
The guy's nuts. I love Dougie Hamilton, actually. And again, this is another player which is going to, like, the fact that we can get him at 67, that's a steal, because he only played 20 games last year, right? And even if Luke Hughes had power play 1, I'd still be massively into Dougie Hamilton this year. This guy shoots like a forward. He does that. Like, his shots a goal per 60 at even strength is like 8, sometimes 9, and that's for like 8 straight seasons. This guy chucks pucks with the best of them. So to me, like, I'm a big fan of Dougie Hamilton. I projected him for 70 points last year. Obviously that didn't work out. I have a more conservative projection for him this year. I think like 64 points or something. But this team's going to be a wagon. It will be interesting, that power play, though, when Luke Hughes comes back, because it's a different look, clearly. Dougie Hamilton is the guy at the end of passes, right, on the power play. They're getting him the puck, and he's shooting it, and then they're banging away the rebounds, or they're doing whatever, whereas that's not Luke Hughes. He's not chucking pucks back there. He's facilitating offense. He's getting it to Jack Hughes. He's getting it, down low, whatever. So it depends on what Sheldon Keefe wants to do with the power play. Obviously, Lindy Ruff wanted more of a facilitator on the back end, as opposed to like a bomber like Dougie Hamilton is. So it is a really nice piece, though, that we get him power play 1 right off the bat, because if he does have some success, to your point, Devin, why would they change that?
Yeah, that's my take on it anyway, but we'll see what happens. I think too, like, how many years does Dougie Hamilton have left on that contract? You kind of have to make it work with the guy, unless you're going to trade him. Luke Hughes is going to have his time, right? But it's like, you see a lot of young defensemen that probably could run the first power play unit, just to kind of have to wait it out a little bit. And unless they're going to run 2 defensemen on the power play, which NHL teams typically don't do, right? So we shall see. And Blake, we were sort of in line with your projection: 18 goals, 66 points, 26 power play points, 269 shots on goal, 52 penalty minutes, 84 hits, and 90 blocks.
Let's go.
Hamilton's got 4 more years at $9 million apiece.
Yeah.
You better trot Dougie out there, buddy. This guy's a 20 goal threat every year, and I'm here for it. That's someone you should be coveting in fantasy.
100%.
And it's someone Keefe's going to like, too, because he never had defensemen like Hamilton and Hughes in Toronto. He had Morgan Riley, and Morgan Riley was not really that great of an offensive defense, but he's going to have 2 really good ones.
That's true.
All right. This guy, we had alluded to him earlier, Bruce. Cam York out of Philly, rostered in 86% of Fantrax leagues, 14% in Yahoo, going undrafted in Yahoo. He's going to play on that top pairing with Travis Sanheim, and I think he's going to get power play 1 to start the year. I don't know why they wouldn't. Seemed to be pretty comfortable there at the end of last season, I believe. Because as you had said, Blake, they narrowly missed the playoffs. I think they missed by 4 points, and as they were trying to push to make the playoffs, Tortorella really leaned on Cam York. He played 25-20 average time on ice and 236 on the power play. He led all Philly D-men in both numbers. I know Jamie Drysdale's there, and he was close at 210 on the power play, but this kind of seems to be Torts' guy. So I don't know. How do you view that, Blake? Like, do you see this going differently? Could Drysdale or Sanheim or somebody else take that spot from him?
Yeah, I think they could. And that's kind of what puts me off of Cam York. Not the individual talent on the player. Like this, he got 10 goals last year. I love double-digit goals from a D-man for a guy that got a 39% power play share. Damn. And, he got a 39% power play share, and he got 6 power play points. Oh, and Tippett got 8. All right, no, like, get Cam York out there. So, but
Yeah.
to me, I think Drysdale is going to be the 1A, but I also think we're going to see some more Torts shenanigans here. Like, it's going to be Igor Zamula out there randomly. He'll probably run a 5-forward set at some point just to piss us all off.
That sounds like Torts, yeah.
Yeah, to me, yeah, I like Cam York. I like the way he profiles the best out of all of their defensemen there. Even Jamie Drysdale. I think York is a more complete defenseman. And to your point, Devin, like, he earned the trust of Tortorella. And at the very least, you like Travis Sanheim and Cam York, that's your number one pair, right? And like, I see, Travis Sanheim got a lot of run last year too. Like, I'm not saying that this is who these guys are, but I sort of see that pairing as like, Cale Makar, Devin Taves, right? Like with Cam York being the more offensive player like Makar and Travis Sanheim being the Devin Taves. They aren't Devin Taves and Cale Makar, everybody. I'm not saying that, disclaimer. But yeah, I would, if Cam York does, like, for him to be valuable to me, he needs like a 60% power play share. Yeah. And then I think we're looking at like, a 45-point defenseman maybe. But currently, like, I have him fourth, 36 points, which is pretty reasonable. 10 power play points. It's serviceable, right? That's streamer level for me. I need to see a lot more. But if, again, whoever gets power play 1, and if they're put out there in like a true number 1 power play capacity, I'm into that, even with the worst power play in the league.
So I guess what I'll say to that, Blake, is that we're not far off in our projections. So we've got him at 10 goals, 39 points, 13 power play points, 129 shots on goal, 37 penalty minutes, 78 hits, and 163 blocks. I kind of viewed him as more of that 60% power play share guy. That's kind of where I'm coming from. Nice. I think he'll improve on the 6 power play points he had. I think, was it part of his power? Like, he had 1 power play goal to date on 42 shots on 340 minutes with a man advantage. So like, I don't see that continuing. I think he's going to score a couple more power play goals this year. So yeah, maybe he's not the 45-point guy. He's not far off though, I don't think.
I think he has the acumen for sure, but it's like, again, it's just the Torts factor. Like, I don't know.
It's uncertainty, even, like, right?
With Michkov, I'm like, Torts factor. I don't know what's going to happen. You're going to trot him out there for 14 minutes. Like, God, like just please, I maintain this. We need some fantasy managers involved in coaching some teams. All right, we don't even need the head coaches. Get us in the video room. Be like, hey, Torts, what do you think about putting Cam York on the power play for a reasonable amount of time? You ding dong. I don't know what's happening. That's fine.
I like it.
I think York will get a bit of run at this.
Yeah, there you go.
I think York will get a bit of run. They're gonna probably try to ease Sanheim's minutes back. Drysdale's got to stay healthy. That's his first thing. He's got to stay healthy. So I think York will get a bit of run at this. And hey, oh God, I already forgot his name. Russian kid. What was his name again?
The great Zamula.
No, the forward from
Michkov.
Michkov. He did a Michigan in the first freaking game in the rookie thing. First game he tried to go for a Michigan. I'm like, legend. I'm like, he didn't get the memo that Torts doesn't like the Michigan.
They had a good chuckle. The coaching staff thought that was great. So, I don't know. For as much as we like to give Torts a hard time, he's a great coach. And like you said, Blake, he did a lot more with that team than any of us expected to. So I have a lot of respect for him. And yeah, the players love him. We've said that many times. Any player you talk to that's had Torts, I think they love the guy because he stands up for his players. Like, they will. He has a short shelf life, but players will run through a wall for that guy.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Blake is not convinced. That's okay. We're going to go on to the next player here. That is Jacob Chychrun for the Washington Capitals. 98% rostered in Fantrax, 76% in Yahoo. 139.7 in Yahoo right now, going in the 12th round. today in training camp, he was playing with John Carlson on the top pairing. This is, it's interesting. We've kind of been waiting to see where Jacob Chychrun shakes out. He went from the Arizona Coyotes to the Ottawa Senators to now to the Washington Capitals. He's in the final year of a 6-year deal. He's probably going to have a new address next year because I don't think Washington is going to want to keep him around, but not the price point he wants to pay anyway. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. But I think by all accounts, he's shown up to camp. He's in tremendous shape. He's healthy. He did play a full 82 games last year, coming off a 41-point, 14-goal campaign. The challenge for him is that lack of power play one time, and I think he got quite a bit of it last year. So, I mean, Blake, I'll go to you first on this one. What can we reasonably expect from Jacob Chychrun, knowing that he's going to be saddled on power play too? And Washington has always run their power play for the full 2 minutes, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I was pissed, to be honest. Like, Jacob Chychrun is a player I love. Like, get this man running a power play. He deserves to be running a power play, like a true number one power play. And now he's behind John Carlson. It's just like, it's fine. I think he's still going to have a similar season to what he did last year because excuse me, he didn't get a lot of power play time last year either. Like, he had 2 minutes and 41 seconds, but Ottawa leads the league year after year in actual power play time. They just draw a lot of penalties, right? People just want to hit Brady Tkachuk in the face.
They sure do.
And they do. And then they go to the box, and that's fine. And then the Senators don't convert. But anyways, he had a 46% power play share. That's not good enough. He's probably going to have less than that this year. John Carlson had that scary injury, but he's not a guy that's super injury prone at this point in his career, which is nice. Like, the guy's a horse. He plays a ton of minutes. I don't really see that changing. I think we're going to see another 40-point season, but one thing about Chychrun, he's a great shot producer from the back end, which again is something that I covet. I think is really important. I love this player, but his ceiling is going to be capped big time on the Capitals here unless Carlson goes down. Oh God. Yeah. Just this is depressing. Yeah. This is really depressing because this guy's amazing. Plus really good periffs last year too. 72 hits, 155 blocks. My man, that's how we do it.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Bruce. That was where I kind of looked to Chychrun was the category coverage. He's doing it on that side, and there was no red flags that I could see. Blake, correct me if I'm wrong, but in terms of the underlying metrics and inflated numbers, I didn't really see anything that was alarming to me. So, I like the player. I wonder about the ADP, like 139.7. If he is going somewhere in the 12th round, knowing he's on power play too, do I want to reach that high for him? Probably not. But I mean, I think that he still has some value somewhere. Bruce, what do you think?
0D, baby. That's where
0D. This is your first defenseman off the board, hey, Bruce?
Absolutely. Why not? If he can put up what we got projected for points for him, I'm all for it.
Okay, so I'll run through that really quickly here. 13 goals, 45 points, 6 power play points, 219 shots on goal, 63 penalty minutes, 78 hits, and 130 blocks. I just think he can produce at even strength. I think he was top 50 in terms of even strength production the past 3 seasons. So I'm not concerned about him putting up points without power play time. He's going to do it. But and top pairing next to John Carlson, and then he's got exposure to Ovechkin and potentially PLD and whoever else they put up there. So,
I don't know if I really say exposure to PLD is a great thing.
Well, more of the OV thing. They're going to pump him out there as much as they can to try and break that goal record.
There is so much PLD hate out there these days. Nate is he's crushing me on the daily basis about PLD. I don't mind PLD. I think PLD is going to have a 60-point season here coming up. That's maybe my hot take of the year. But I like the landing spot for PLD. I think I'm going off topic.
I really hope I'm wrong because I've crapped all over him for quite a while, and I'd be more than happy for him to go out there and prove me wrong. I would be really happy to see that.
You know what? I think that guy, he made his own bed and he can lie in it as far as I'm concerned. Like PLD on this podcast, and if Tyler was here, he would rip him a new one.
He would.
I think, it's the attitude, right? The guy, he's basically pissed and moaned his entire career, got whatever he wanted, got traded, got here, got there, gets the power play time, gets the deployment. And then you see some shifts, some pretty ugly shifts from PLD at times. Like, and you don't want to, like, I'm not in that guy's shoes, but my God, man, at least make it look like you're trying, right? It's just, It's bad. It's bad. But anyway, I think to your point, Blake, I'm not totally down on him from a fantasy perspective this season in Washington. I think that, he could usurp Dylan Strome as the top line center there if he actually
put some effort
gave
into
the
it.
effort. Yeah.
You know who else he reminds me of a little bit? And again, not so much the player profile, but the dingus attitude, JT Miller. All right. JT Miller's body language on the regular basis. This guy's he's like a whiny bee. All right. He does that. Right. But you get the right coach situation. He was not put in a position to succeed in LA. Rob Blake has admitted that, and there's been reports too, even with his new teammate, Matt Roy, coming from LA, to Washington with him. He's like, this guy's awesome. He's not a problem. Yeah. He's not a problem in the dressing room. Like, that's Matt Roy. That's his teammate. So I take that as well with a grain of salt. I've seen lots of interviews with PLD. Anyways, we're digressing here on PLD. This is one of the guys I wanted to talk about anyway, because I think this guy's getting no respect this year. And I think, just we were talking about Duclair, like that's kind of where I see PLD as well. I'm not saying he's going to pop off, but like a 60-point player with really good periffs that's going to get power play 1. Yeah, that's a guy that should be on our roster.
I agree. He's getting the Rodney Dangerfield treatment for sure. All right, let's move on to goaltenders here then, guys. That's a bit of a data reference.
Not for me, buddy. I'm with you.
No, we're on the same page. Yeah, Bruce too. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
All right, so moving on to goaltenders, I kind of just rambled here for a little bit. There's a lot of information to go through. I just think it's going to be really hard to find value in the Metropolitan division. And I've got my co-pilot here. We've got a new puppy for anyone that's hearing some whining or barking going on. Yeah, it's kind of a mess right now. So in Carolina, we've got the tandem. We've got Freddie Anderson or Pyotr Korchekov. What's going to happen there? Like, Anderson was unbelievable when he did play last year, but he's not the goaltender of the future. He's 35 now. It's just kind of a mess there for me. I mean, Columbus, we've got that tandem. That's ugly, right? You've got Tarasov and Merzlikins. Neither guy was particularly good last year. New Jersey, Jacob Markstrom. I'm big on Jacob Markstrom for this year, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on him before I move on. So my only issue with him is where do you have to get him? And right now, I think you have to get him in the 5th round if you want him. So there's a lot of fantasy love for the New Jersey Devils right now, guys. How high are you going to reach for Jacob Markstrom? And Blake, I know you subscribe to Zero G, so like, fill me in, buddy. What's going on?
Well, I'm sure as hell not drafting him at 57. Oh my God. But, I did an amazing episode on our podcast feed that I would definitely suggest you checking out. It's with Kevin Woodley from NHLShop.ca.
I listened to it. Yeah, it was fantastic. And he had all sorts of good things to say about Jacob Markstrom.
This guy's incredible. Like, he has truly insider information. He was talking about Jacob Markstrom and just, he was Kevin Woodley's Vezina favorite, for a lot of the season until the Flames really fell off at the end of the year. And he did think that Markstrom was a perfect fit for what the Devils do last year under Lindy Ruff. So now that's the only thing. That's the only piece there. It's just some variance, right? It's like Markstrom with the Sheldon Keefe-led New Jersey Devils. It might not be the same, right? Because Markstrom really excels at like these big acrobatic saves. He likes to play in chaos, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what the Devils had last year in the defensive zone. It was chaos, right? But I mean, Keefe's going to bring a much more structured system here. So how does Jacob Markstrom deal with that? I remember watching him with the Canucks when they actually did have good systems. He gets bored. It's like, and then he starts letting in stupid goals. He's not one of these guys that can be sharp, getting 20 goals or 20 shots a night, right? He's a guy that plays balls out, like, lets in 1 goal on 44 shots and looks like a world beater. So anyways, I'm a big fan of the player, not at 57. I'm rambling there, but I think he's a great fit for New Jersey regardless.
Okay. So yeah, I wanted to take some time on that. Bruce, Jacob Markstrom. I mean, you're probably going 0G again, Bruce, anyway, but
yeah, it'd be pretty hard to convince me otherwise at this point.
Oh yeah, buddy. You're damn scared. All right, we're together on this.
My problem
is, what are you doing? Are you going G? Oh no.
Yeah. No, I think I've been burned. I think
last year converted him after his epic blowout.
Who'd you get?
Yeah. So I got cute last year, and I thought I think I drafted at the turn.
Two and 3 you got goalies at, or was it 1 and 2?
No. It went forward first, and then I got a chance at 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. But
And
I
I
took
egged him on the entire way.
he did a little bit, but in that league in particular, goalies actually do carry some value. Like you get 5 points for a win. It's like it actually does make some sense to have some good goaltenders. But I went Shesterkin and Ottinger thinking that's going to be a lock, right? Like no way that's going to burn me this year. And it did. It sure did. So I'm gonna just stop doing that. I won't be drafting goaltenders anywhere in the first 8 to 10 rounds, and we'll go from there. So
right now I'm seeing that the more you know, like that shooting star come up. There you go.
yeah, that's exactly.
It's happened to all of us, buddy. I got smoked with UC Saros, and I was like, no, screw this. I'm never doing this again. And I'm not looking back, and it feels amazing, man. It's very freeing because you can just punt these guys to the curb.
Just thinking the same thing. It's so freeing. It's liberating. Okay, so yeah, Jacob Markstrom. I mean, I'm not taking him in the 5th round. Didn't want to cover him, but I do think he's a nice piece if you can get him at the right price point. The Islanders. We're going to talk about one of these guys actually as one of our value picks because I think it makes some sense. But to me, there's a little bit of confusion right now in the crease in Long Island. Brooklyn, wherever the hell they're playing now. The Rangers, Shesterkin's young question started there, but again, high price point. Are you going to pay that price point for him? And then in Philly, things are kind of a mess too. Samuel Ersson or Ivan Fedotov. To me, I think Ersson actually earned an honorable mention because he played 51 games last year. He was actually pretty good for the Flyers. So curious to see what he does there. And then Washington. This is one here, so I want to get both of your opinion on this one. Charlie Lindgren or Logan Thompson. I was actually really interested in Charlie Lindgren as like a late round pick or even a mid round guy, but he played great last year. 25, 16 and 7, 2.67 goals against, a 911 save percentage.
He was the reason why they made the playoffs.
Perfect pick, right? But then they went and got Logan Thompson. So now Bruce, are you going to try and handcuff both players because you're going 0G? Maybe you'll get them both late, or what's your thoughts?
I think at the beginning of the season they're going to give Lindgren a little bit of rope because of what he did last year. But if he starts faltering, I don't think they're going to hesitate to switch to Thompson. I don't think it's going to be a complete 50-50 split. I think it's going to lean a little more towards Lindgren. But if it comes where Lindgren falters, they won't hesitate to make the switch because Thompson has shown when he played in Vegas that he can play.
Okay, and Blake, you're nodding. I'm guessing you see it sort of similarly.
Yeah, but again, Washington just tooting in our faces here in the offseason. Getting better as a team. What are you doing? No, shoring up the defense, the forward group, and the goalies. You're killing us for fantasy here. So yeah, I was excited about Lindgren again because he was going to be at value, and he still is. But yeah, now I'm not interested in either. I mean, they're both going to be like I could maybe draft Lindgren with my last pick or something like that, and just see what happens. But I think there are better 0G options at this point, with a better pathway to a few more starts, right? Because tandems are huge right now in the league. Like it's hard to get away from it, right? But I truly see that as like maybe not a 50-50, but like a 52-48. Like Logan Thompson's good to go. He's a really good goaltender. But Charlie Lindgren is a really good goaltender as well, and to me, he's the reason they were in the playoffs. That's the reason they were in the playoffs. And that's, again, not something that we can bank on for fantasy. Like, okay, play out of your mind, Charlie Lindgren. Like, you can do that again, right? Even, with all these new players and they're all trying to learn how to play together. He's got, new defense in front of him and Chychrun and Matt Roy. Like, it's probably not going to go well, to be honest. Like, they're a better team and they'll figure it out. But I'm out on both those players, to be honest, at the start of the season here.
Yeah, that's how I view it as well. So that's kind of the quick rundown of the Metro and the goaltending situations. And it's going to be hard to identify some goaltenders you really want to key in on. But the three that we've got, and we'll talk about them just each quickly because we've already been on here for an hour, Blake. But
sorry about that. That's all me, boys.
No, not at all. We've been rambling ourselves here. So I've got three here. Samuel Ersson, as I said, sort of as an honorable mention. But the other two, Semyon Varlamov, who was the starter for the Islanders in the playoffs. I think to me it's an interesting situation because now we heard too that Sorokin had off-season back surgery. By all accounts, he's fine, and it's Ilya Sorokin. I don't think you have to be too concerned. But Varlamov is going right now at 170, somewhere in the 15th round. That's a guy that I think you could take late, and he may get I mean, on the high end, maybe he gets 35 starts. But he actually outplayed Sorokin last year. He had 14-8-4 record, a 260 goals against average, a 918 save percentage, 3 shutouts, and a 12.29 goals saved above average. He looked great, and he was their starter in the playoffs. Blake, do you have any concerns about Sorokin losing some playing time, especially with that relationship with Varlamov and Patrick Waugh?
Not really. Yeah, like to me, Varlamov he'll have some value, but I think more as a streamer. Like this is going to be a 0G guy this year, because he'll get a run of games, or play a couple weeks of 2 games each, and then you'll just punt him to the curb because I think the reason he was playing at during Patrick Waugh's tenure there and into the playoffs is because Sorokin wasn't 100% healthy.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually documented at this point. So, I'm not concerned at all. Sorokin is their main man. This guy's under contract for big money, and that's who they're going to roll with for sure. But yeah, I think Varlamov does have a little bit of value there, but I think you probably don't even have to draft him. You know what I mean? I think you could just leave him there, and then when he gets his first start, you pick him up. If Sorokin gets injured, bang, the guy's an auto ad, no question.
100%. Yeah, we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here with the goaltenders in the Metro. But so those 2 guys, Varlamov and Urson. And then the last guy here, Bruce, this will come as no surprise to you knowing my draft history, but Tristan Jarry out of the Pittsburgh Penguins, 92% rostered in Fantrax, 62% in Yahoo. Right now he's going 144.9 in the 13th round. That's probably still a little rich for my blood, but his numbers have been trending down too. So for the past 3 seasons, like last year, finished at a 19, 25, and 5 record, a 291 goals against, a 903 save percentage. His really bad start percentage was at 25.5. That was a career worst for him. So but Pittsburgh hasn't been great either, right? We all thought they were going to be much better last year. I think we sort of expected them to push for the playoffs, and they did. I guess they were right there with Philly. And I think they would have made it. The thing that frustrates me is Pittsburgh, in their final 2 games of the year, I think had games against Chicago and Columbus and couldn't close out those games to secure a playoff spot. So that was the kind of team they were dealing with last year. But I just think for me, it's sort of a follow the money situation. They're paying Jarry that money. Nedeljkovic could come in and steal some starts, but to me, it's a 1A situation for sure with Jarry. It's going to be his crease to start, and then they'll go from there. But Blake, thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, this one is a little, I'm not sure about that. Like Tristan Jarry, both the Pittsburgh goalies have been left for dead. There's no question there. Like, everyone's like, what, Tristan Jarry's still on the wire. Like that's a goalie for a team that is, was almost made the playoffs last year, and they got Sidney Crosby. Like you should probably roster that guy. But yeah, Jarry has been pretty gross. And then like, I don't think there was an injury issue with Jarry, and Nedeljkovic started the last 14 games of the season, right? Mm-hmm. Like that says something, right? They're trying to make the playoffs, and Nedeljkovic is the guy getting the run there. So that gives me a little bit of pause. I think Nedeljkovic is actually more of an interesting option than Jarry. They're both value. Like they both can be 0G guys. Jarry, you're going to have to draft a little bit early because I do agree with what you said. I think he's got that 1A, like, but not with any confidence, like, I think it's a real short leash, but yeah, he's got a decent contract for term. They just picked up Nedeljkovic for 2 more years, though, at 2.5. So I don't know if Jarry falters, Nedeljkovic could come in, and I think that's a guy that could steal the crease there. So that's a goalie situation I'm definitely watching this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you said there, Bruce. What's your take on the crease in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I'm kind of taking a wait and see to it too. I've never been a big Jarry fan after that first pass in the playoffs there a couple of seasons ago. But,
He hurt you. He hurt your feelings.
It's just, dude, what are you doing? And it's and then there it goes, right? But yeah, it's like looking at their ADP for both goaltenders. Yeah, they're definitely going to be a 0G, and we'll see how Pittsburgh goes coming out of the gate, right? If they come out playing well and Jarry plays well, that'll be a steal if whoever manages to get him in the later rounds, and see what happens. Either one should be good.
All right, there you have it. So I just noticed too, Blake, you had some players here at the bottom of our list, and Ned was one of them, and Lindgren as well. So that's good. We touched on those players. Brian Rust, we mentioned, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Maxim Saplakov. I don't know a whole lot about him. I know he was just mentioned here online recently. There's some chatter about him. So give us just really quickly, because we're wrapped here now. We're done through our goalie tenders. So what's your take on that player? What you're sort of interested for this year?
Yeah, it's simply just a player that I'm watching. I'll put that player on my watch list and see what he does. But this guy's a bit of a, he's a beefer. He's a shot guy, probably chance generation. He's going to get top 6, power play 2. We'll see what happens. It's just a clearly unknown situation, but I like what I've read about Siplikov this year in the offseason, just in terms of his preparation. And then even just his first day training camp, what he was able to show. Patrick Roy was talking about, just liked what he saw there, right? It's all simple stuff, just a player of interest for me that I'm keeping my eye on.
All right. And then the last two guys here, Zach Werenski and Shane Gostisbehere. We all know you love Zach Werenski. Like, there's lots to like there. I want to see him play a few more games. That'd be my only take on Zach Werenski. But anything you want to say about those two players?
Yeah, I like them both better than Jacob Chychrun this year, which is, it sucks. And Cam York, honestly. But yeah, Zach Werenski, that's a player I'm really high on. Again, 20 goal potential, major play driver. There's not too much else to say. I don't draft for injury narrative. His injuries last year were luck related. So that's why I don't draft for injury stuff. So I'm not too worried there. And again, I do think they have a lot to play for there in Columbus. So I think he's going to be giving his all. And then Shane Gostisbehere, he was running top reps on the top power play there in Carolina, which is kind of what we predicted there. A lot of analysts predicted. So he had a great year on the power play with Detroit last year. I could see him doing it again here in Carolina with better players. So yeah, just two players of interest for me that you should be looking at here in the Metropolitan division.
Absolutely. I agree with that one. Werenski actually was on my list to talk about, but then I was trying to avoid, kind of the obvious pick there, because he's a guy I think that a lot of players, a lot of fantasy managers are keyed it on, and he's going to get drafted. He's got 20 goal potential every season. So
his ADP though, what the hell? I mean, it's something crazy. Like, where is it? Yeah. 115 on Yahoo.
I love it.
That's pretty good value. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'll take it.
All right. Well, hey, Blake, listen, we've taken enough of your time tonight. I really appreciate you jumping on and chatting with Bruce and I about the Metropolitan division. One more time, just for the people, let them know where can they find you on social media and where can they find that fantasy guide from Apples and Ginos.
Well, I'm here. If I'm here for one thing, it's for the people, Devin. All right. So I'm happy to do it. Head over to Twitter/X. Give me a follow at Blake Freemer AG. Follow at Apples Ginos as well, because we're doing stuff over there. We're bringing the tweet heat. Also, our fantasy hockey draft guide available at the Apples and Ginos Patreon for a low price of $7.99, and we're feeling fine. So definitely pick that up if you like winning.
Speaking of value, folks, that is some good value. Let me tell you, I've gone through it myself. Love it. And then for us, if you want to find us on social media, give us a follow on Twitter or X at FHHacks. We're on Instagram at Fantasy Hockey Hacks, and we're pumping out a little bit of content on YouTube as well these days. You can listen to our podcast there or whatever platform you use. I forgot to mention at the top here, but dear listener, if you like what we're doing, if we're helping you in your fantasy hockey endeavors, we'd really appreciate a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. Also, please be sure to leave a 5-star review for Blake and the guys over at Apples and Ginos. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Take care.
Nice.